Hey y'all, thanks for tuning in to another Carolina shore fishing video. I figured I'd show a lot of you, since we do have a lot of beginners on the page, how to tie knots and which 4 knots. Yeah, because you see Caroline says that's a really important thing to learn. Sorry about that. But we do want to know how to tie knots properly and which knots, we would need for certain scenarios. So I want to get to that today. 4 top knots that I like to use. But before we get to that, a word from our sponsor for today's video.
Our sponsor for today's video is Manta Sleep. For the last few weeks, they've been helping me get some of the best quality sleep I've had in a long time. Their mask is super comfortable and creates a 100% blackout, which triggers you to sleep and stay asleep. I was skeptical at first, but after using it, I legit can't sleep without it anymore. Manta Sleep sent out a mask for me to try, no obligations, and I really felt a difference. The eye cups give your eyelids and lashes enough room and are very soft. I have pretty sensitive skin, and I really like the feel of their mask. If you've been plagued with inconsistent sleep like myself, this may be just what you need. As fishermen, we know the importance of getting good quality sleep, especially when you can't get enough sleep. They offer many styles, and you can get 10% off using my code CSF10.
So today I want to show you guys how to tie the Palomar knot, the Albright knot, the Clinch knot, and the Overhand loop knot, which is used for tying those bottom rigs that I use. We're going to use what we have right here in front of me, so let's get to it. Alright, starting with the Palomar knot. You've got your line here. We're going to double it over. And once you get confident tying this, you're not going to need so much line doubled over. But I'm doing that so that we've got plenty to work here. And before I get started, I'm already going, right? Ready to go. We're going to insert the double line through the, just pretend this is our hook here. We go through the eye of the hook, and now we're sitting like this, right? We're going to do an overhand knot going through. We have this loop still. We're going to take and pull that loop over the hook and back around. I hope that was pretty visible. And so then when you pull tight, which it's going to be pretty difficult to do here with the polymer, or with the paracord, it's going to pull this loop tight over that knot. So let's see if we can get that to go. Not going to happen. Let's see. With fishing line, you wet it, it's going to be a lot smoother. You should have no problem getting your pulled tight. And this loop is coming from this tag end line. So anyways, you got the idea there. That's what your Palomar knot's going to look like. One of the toughest knots out there. Very strong. I use this for a lot of occasions. Whenever I can reasonably get that loop over what I'm tying, then I'm going to go ahead and tie that Palomar knot. Sometimes with lures and, like voodoo shrimp and stuff, it's a bigger profile. You got the hook sticking out. It's tougher to do that with, but there are other knots that I tend to lean on for those scenarios. But if I'm just using it to tie on a barrel swivel or a hook, something like that, I definitely lean on the Palomar knot for that. So that's the Palomar knot. We'll do it one more time here. Doubling our line, taking that doubled line, passing it through our eye, creating a overhand knot with that loop, pulling our loop over the hook, and this time, before I tighten everything, we're going to try and get that loop pulled tight. Just not going to happen with the paracord. But it's going to look just like that there. Very strong knot. Okay, let's move on to our next knot. And I will say, if you are using this for tying mono or fluorocarbon, one loop is fine. But if you are going to do this with braided fishing line, which slips much easier, you do want to do 2 loops, and I'll show you that real quick. So we've got our line doubled over again, pretending this is our braid. We're going in, and now for our overhand loop, we're going in once, we're going in twice, and then we're pulling that over and pulling again. But I'm not going to pull it tight because it's a pain to get it out. So that is the Palomar knot. Generally, when you have loops and twists like that, with braid, you're going to go ahead and do twice the amount, usually. So our next knot here that we have is the clinch knot. And this is a knot that I lean on for, larger profile lures and shrimp, like the voodoo shrimp, rattling shrimp. Sometimes it's a pain to try and do a Palomar knot and pull the loop over all of that stuff. And so I lean on a clinch knot or an improved clinch knot. So we're going to start with the clinch knot here. Here's our line. We're going to pass it through the eye like such, pulling it around and starting to make twists. This is probably the easiest knot that you could learn. Once you've got, for mono, about 3 to 6 loops, and then for braid, more like 8 to 12 to even 15 loops, you're going to take that tag end, pass it through the loop you've created down below, and then you can pull tight, just like that. This is a strong knot. Make sure you pull it tight so that your tag end doesn't slip and you end up losing fish like that. But this works incredibly. So a slight difference in doing the improved clinch knot, which I do tend to like to use more for a larger game fish, maybe sheep's head or something like that, red drum. I'll make sure to go ahead and improve the clinch knot. So starting up the same, we're going to pass our tag end through the eye of the hook here. We're going to make our twists like we did before. We're going to pass that through our loop that we made, and instead of pulling tight from here, we're going to pass that tag end through the top loop that we made right there, and then pull tight. That is the improved clinch knot, and it helps prevent slippage that you would get from the other. So pretty basic knots there. Everybody should know those two for sure. Definitely know the Palomar as well, because they all come in handy. Okay. Next, we'll do our overhand loop knot. This is used for tying bottom rigs. So we don't need our gear here. We're going to take our line. Here's our tag end. We're going to double it over. After doubling it over, we're going to do an overhand knot using that loop. Go in 3 to 4 times, pull that tight, and you've now got a loop here. And what you can do with that is you can either loop up your hooks. And this is not going to pass just because of the sides here, but you would pull this over the hook and then pull tight, and it's going to be cinched on there pretty good. What I can do to kind of demonstrate that is to try and go that way. It's going to look something like that once you do that. And you can do the same with a sinker down at the bottom. So this type of overhand loop knot, you would tie one like right there, come up a bit, tie another overhand loop knot, and you'll soon see that you've got a bottom rig that you're making. Very useful knot to know. And for our last knot, this is a leader to leader knot. I'm going to show you guys how to tie the Albright knot. This replaced the double uni for me just because of its simplicity and its function. It works just as good to me. So we're going to pretend this is our leader line and this is our main line here. So main line in orange, leader line in camo, and we will get started now. Way I like to do it, because usually your leader line's a little thicker, I like to double that line up. So we're going to give us a good bit of line here. Doubled up, we're going to take and hold this like it's an eye of a hook. We're going to stick our line from the bottom coming in, up top like that, pull enough, and begin making twists here. If I'm using like mono to fluoro or something like that, which generally doesn't happen for me, I usually fish braid. But sometimes I am fishing mono to mono, like if I'm drum fishing. And I'll do probably like 5 twists for that. But if I'm doing it with braided line as my main line, which is generally the case if I'm tying on a leader for Spanish mackerel or sheepshead fishing, red drum, anything inshore, I'm going to do about 10, 12 twists there. But for mono, we're pretty good at doing like 4 here. You'll be fine with that. Let's see. So we've gone in, we've done our loops, we've got our tag end here. What we're going to do with that very simply is go back in where we came from, right through there. Making sure you don't lose sight of your tag end here. That's why you need just enough to keep it held out of the way. And then we begin to pull tight here and check out what you get. There you go. Very, very strong. You're going to clip off your tag ends and you have now either braid to a fluoro or braid to a mono leader, or even mono to a mono leader if you're doing some drum fishing or shark fishing or something like that. So very simple knot to do. I'll take you guys through it one more time here. Here's our leader line. We've got it doubled over. Using that loop we've made, we're going to take our tag line coming in from the bottom. And we're going to begin making twists. Again, you want to do more if you're using braid as your main line, and less if you're using mono. Now we've got a few twists around there. We're going to take that tag end back through that loop that we went in from the beginning, and just like that, you pull tight. Perfect. So I hope that wasn't too unclear there. I hope everything was well presented for you guys and you know what you're doing now on the water. These are like first 4 knots I would recommend anybody to learn. They're pretty simple and useful in many occasions. I haven't really done anything else that I don't need any of these knots for. So hope that helps everybody. Happy fishing and have a great one. Thanks for tuning in.